Howdy, guys. It's Sunday at 10 p.m. Welcome to the live stream. Leigh and I are here for you tonight. Leigh, who do we have on the couch this evening?
On the couch, yes.
On the couch,
the APAT show couch.
The virtual couch.
Well, we have the one and only Mr. Paul Haycock joining us on the show tonight. But Des, I mean, all I'm saying, after last week's PLO tape, they're literally queuing at the door to get on their seat at this cash game tonight. I mean, it's just, yeah, they obviously know there's free money available, so they are queuing at the door, looking for a seat. It's one in, one out. There
were 0 people on the table about 10 minutes ago, and then Leigh Wiltshire appeared, and then there were 5.
Yeah, I've had 3 DMs from people this week. Just can I get an invite to the game? Can I get an invite to the? But unfortunately, not. We have one free seat. Do we have a free seat there, Leigh? Yeah. Wow.
Now there is one seat, but it is reserved. We have
it's reserved.
Hopefully, we have Natalie Bromley on her way to fill the remaining seats. So that is the plan. But yeah, good evening, everybody. Evening to you, Paul. Paul's had a busy poker weekend. We'll talk about that in a bit. And of course, there's been a lot to talk about this week in general. Loads going. And isn't 7 days a long time in football, Des? Hey, I mean, really?
Well, by my reckoning, Leigh, I'm not the world's greatest analyst, but nonetheless, I reckon Bournemouth could take your boys 8-0.
Yeah, it would feel about the right thing, to be honest. Yeah, whether we'd have 11 players on the pitch at the end of the game is another question altogether.
I don't think that's the question at all. I think the question is whether there'd be anybody there to commentate on the game. But we'll come on to that.
There's that as well. Yeah, absolutely. So,
fantastic. 7 days is indeed a long.
Before we dive into all of that, by the way, I've got a challenge. It's a challenge for me, but it's also a challenge for you and anyone listening. So, a good friend of mine, Mr. Stuart Lockley, who you know, Leigh, and occasional APAT player, and he's in the chat sometimes. So he's sent me a challenge to get certain key phrases into the APAT show at some point this evening. He's given me a target of at least 10 of them, and the challenge for you is to figure out what the hell they are.
To be honest, I think that's going to be rather easy. Leigh and I are old foes at this. And it popped up, I don't know about your timeline, Leigh, your memories, but it popped up in my memories. A few days ago, we put out a post, I think in 2013, so like 10 years ago, saying, we're doing a WCOAP podcast this evening, guys. We're prepping that. And we had just had a load of people sort of saying, can you say this, say that? The show was about 20 minutes long, but it took about an hour and 40 minutes to do.
It's not advertising anything. It's not like pushing a particular product. Unlike my mug, by the way, which is blatant product placement.
We allow that.
Natalie would be proud of me. But
you're okay, because I'm similar situation.
Oh, I see that behind you. Very nice.
Yeah. So very, very similar indeed. Well, I'd say Jen's just got back from a swim camp in Lanzarote, and she said that Friday night they did a quiz. So I've got loads of quiz questions going around in my head as well, which is absolutely ridiculous. One of them was there was a film round, and one of them was a film first released in 1933 has had 11 remakes since. So it's been remade 11 times. Can you name the film? First done in 1933, 11 remakes since. Don't have a go at me if any of those facts are wrong, but yeah.
Wow. It's got to be a Disney.
Not a Disney. I could give you one clue. The actual theme of the quiz is that it's 2-word answers where the first word and the second word start with the same letter. So that gives you a help to what it is. But it's
I don't know. What do you think? Well, hold on. We've got a load of people in the chat.
I was going to say, we can throw this out there.
Pitch it out to the guys. But first of all, let's see who's in there. And just reminding all of you that we are on Twitch, Facebook, YouTube. We're on the APAT site. There must be other places we are. But just drop a comment in the chat box, and we will look forward to discussing it on air. So Stefan Fisher was the first into the chat box this evening. So good evening to you, Stefan. He says, hello there. Mr. Lawler is there, of course. Good evening. Evening back to you, sir. Ms. Bromley says, brand ambassadors for a reason. Quite right. The boys are doing a good job there, Natalie. Good job representing. Simon says, at least 2 mugs on the show then. Thank you, Simon.
Ho, ho, ho.
Thank you. Thank you. I know what you mean. Ace is there. Evening all. We've got to get our evening in early, Taser, because we know he disappears. Got to be up early. Simon says, a star is born. He's going to lose out on the old alliteration there, isn't he? It can't be a star is born. It's an interesting one.
Oh, why am I in a spot here already, Des? This is what happens now with this PLO table.
Didn't take long for our first all-in pot. Come on, then.
You got to be more aggressive tonight, Leigh. I told you.
We need to go on.
I'm going to be behind here comfortably.
I don't mind telling you that Dan's ahead, by the way.
Oh, something's happened.
All
the money's gone in.
I'm not liking this at all. Well, it's going to go in here, isn't it? I think.
I mean, you haven't got enough.
4 jack
why
7
why
2.
you left yourself
Jack
3
is
quid there
7.
at the end? I'm not entirely sure. Hit me.
Bloody hell!
You've got diamonds as well. Oh my god!
Oh,
sweet Jesus! Right on the river. That was the last hand of last game, right? Wasn't it? Last week.
What actually happens is so Dan is the one that actually is the main winner from that. I merely Paul and I had a side pot going on there. So so Dan yet again rivers the pot. Not for the first time.
I had high hopes when all the money went in, but they were sadly dashed at the end. So you're starting to recover a little bit from last week. Yeah.
I think we've got the answer, Leigh.
Yeah.
I think we have the answer, and it's an old favourite, right? An old favourite of mine, Christian Bannon Briggs. A man who admires the biscuit, right? He's suggesting King Kong. I like it. That sounds good.
He is spot on.
Oh, brilliant.
Well
done. Well done.
Very impressive.
Well done.
Good knowledge.
Simon Lawler had come in with Debbie Does Dallas, which
is a good second place. I mean,
my first thought was Citizen Kane, which just shows what an absolute idiot I am.
Spelling.
Literally not even the same letter.
Jen's quiz team didn't get it, but they guessed Christmas Carol, which was is a pretty damn good guess. I mean that's
King Kong.
Carol, but sure.
Who knew?
Yeah.
Stefan says, guys, look, we're here for the WCOAP 2023 info. Well, to be honest, we haven't got that much info. I mean, the dates are out there. We know where the venue is. So all of that's been confirmed. But I think what we can talk about is who the captains are for the home countries. Not all of them. Northern Ireland still to be confirmed. But we know who the captains are for, if you like, the Republic of Ireland, England, Scotland, and Wales. Leigh, shall we talk about that now?
Yeah, let's do that now. Yeah, let's chat about that now, because that's a good time to do that, as it's as Tom's popped that out in the group earlier on. So the details are all up. Obviously, we should start with, I guess, the reigning champs. Is it okay to talk about that now, Paul?
Too soon. It'll never not be too soon. So you might as well just say it.
I mean, they had it won, Leigh. They had it won literally midway through the last level. They had it won, Leigh. They had the medals. They were overconfident, clearly.
Triggered.
Yeah, absolutely triggered, to say the least. Yeah, so Ben will be returning as reigning skipper with the Scottish side, and as is always the way, they get to have another go. Whether he's going to pick the same side or not, I'm not quite sure. I would imagine
he's got to go for the heroes again, hasn't he?
Yeah. I would imagine he probably will be looking.
Sorry, Ben, the reigning champions. I thought Frank was back going for 17 in a row. What? No.
Frank is back, and it could well be 17 in a row of attending.
Come on, Ireland.
That's for sure. So yeah, Frank is back. Is back captaining the Irish side. So looking forward to that. The show's very own Dan Houston will be captaining the Welsh side. Dan's been hugely successful in this event for Wales over many years. So and he's now going to step up as captain for this year, and then for England, which is always a tricky one to pick, because loads of really good candidates that can do that. And obviously Paul last year went through this whole process and the whole experience, and Wayne Parker is going to be the skipper for England for 2023. Wayne has been around the APAT world for a very, very long time, hugely successful in lots of tournaments, and a hugely deserved opportunity for him to skipper the English side.
Fantastic. I think Wayne's a really interesting appointment. Can't wait to see, what type of team he comes up with. Any advice for Wayne, given that you were England's longest reigning captain, Paul?
When he
through what we call the dark days, really from start to finish.
Firstly, don't go through a major global pandemic for two years of being captain. That's my first bit of advice. But when you've got a million applications and you haven't got the first idea what to do or how to upset a load of people, then if you need to cry for help, then do come my way.
Absolutely. So you can either go to Paul or just go to ChatGPT, right? Because times have moved on. Right? Help yourself in that way. So some other people in the chat box, we get a smile from Mr. Briggs. Glad to see it. And I hope Helen as well, Christian. Dan Williams says, good old Austin, right? Simon says a short stacker, luckily, along with a WTF. So loving the work of Mr. Austin. Stewie says, Austin again. Yeah.
I am looking forward to seeing Austin going for gold again in at the APAT Worlds. That would be that would be quite the double, wouldn't it?
Oh, well, yeah, because he's going in as the main event bracelet holder, right? So quite a big few weeks, a couple of weeks there for Dan. Pro Fleet on the Twitch says King Kong. Now maybe it's the 3-minute delay on the Twitch, or I'm not sure, but he wants to know, what do I win? Our admiration, my friend, our admiration, always. Simon Allen is there. Evening, guys. Evening to you, Simon. Simon Lawler says Wayne is a fine chap. And I think he is. He absolutely is. Wayne is from Wakefield, Yeah, that's all I've got on that. That's all I've got.
Is that it? That's as good as it is. Yeah.
Everybody knows Wakefield is a small town in Wales, quite close to Pontefract. Right, yes, so Stu says... would like to congratulate Paul Haycock on his 35-year reign as England captain and hope he enjoys a well-earned rest from the duties this year. Very nicely said. Mr. Fisher.
It's not easy, mate. It's not easy.
Mr. Fisher's offering advice to Wayne Parker. He says, go for Peter Wigglesworth in your team. There you go. It's good advice.
How did that work out for you, Paul?
Until about 10 minutes before the end, really well.
I think he's put the finger on Peter Wigglesworth there. That's terrible. Simon does say you did have a 2-year unbeaten stretch, which again is quite a unique ending to an English career, I have to say.
Isn't that along the lines of aren't Cardiff City the longest holders of the FA Cup? Am I right in saying they won it just before the
war?
The war, and then so they were the. Is it? I think it's in my head. It was Cardiff City that did that, but whoever it was, anyway, that has got that little claim to fame.
Could well be. In investment advice that is only slightly better than Silicon Valley investment advice, Dan Williams says, if I lend Austin $20, what if he'll give me a red shirt at the Worlds? Dan, he's not Welsh, is he?
I mean, last I heard that Dan was planning on picking Scouse, is what I heard.
To be honest, I could see that happening.
Anyone that lives within 50 miles of the Welsh border is on standby, basically.
So Christian says, Helen as well, thanks. That's really good. Give her our regards, please. Wayne Parker, the man of the moment, is in the chat box. As you'd expect, what else would a prospective England captain be doing on a Sunday night? And he says, ChatGPT says, put the names in a hat. When it comes down to it. Chris Hyam says, congrats, Wayne Parker. Chris is in fact the first person to try and put his name in the hat. He's in there straight away, giving Wayne a bit of love. Simon Lawler says, Portsmouth. That sounds a bit random.
No. Portsmouth could be the FA Cup winners. Yeah, it could well be Portsmouth.
Sorry, was that a question from last week?
No. What we just talking about, and I think Simon saying 1939
yes, indeed.
also makes sense as well, doesn't it? So either he's correcting my year that King Kong first came out, or he's referring to the FA Cup winners. It could be that. I mean, I shouldn't underestimate the England, the role of being England captain and what you have to go through. I mean, give the people at home some idea, Paul, of the numbers that you have to work through.
Well,
the sort of interest that you have for it, and when you put this out to say, look, this is what I'm looking for. You know, what sort of numbers did you get?
Well, bearing in mind that I automatically ruled out 100 players with my selection policy in the first place, because I thought loads and loads of players want to play for England. England's obviously the most oversubscribed of all of the teams, and I thought it would be a shame to pick a load of players that have already had the opportunity to play for England before. So I didn't. So I said I'm not going to pick anybody that's played for England before at either the Worlds or the Europeans. Which I didn't realise how many people that was going to be ruling out, but you sent me the spreadsheet and there's 100 names on it, so that got rid of loads of people, and fantastic players that I would have happily picked. And then I said that I was going to have one sort of captain's choice that I would just pick automatically without going through the sort of application process. So then there was 2 spots available, and 40 people applied for the 2 spots, despite having already ruled out 100. So yeah, I had to
oversubscribe.
I had to disappoint 38 people. Vast majority of which took it really well.
Could you just pass that list straight on to Wayne, because you'll have some advance notice, which will probably help.
No
Asa says, massive congrats, Wayne Parker. Again, Pete says, plenty of 8-betters worthy of a call-up. I was really happy with Paul picking me. It was an awesome experience, which of course it is. Dan says, I can see the Welsh border from my window, if that counts, and Williams has to be Welsh somewhere.
Yeah,
I think that's probably a fair call.
Thank you, Pete. I thought it went so well. Right until the very end, we thought this day was ours, but no, it wasn't quite to be.
You got the famous APAT show commentators box. That's exactly what you got. And Simon says, football, has Des got a memory of a goal? I have no idea what he's talking about, Lee.
Yeah. I mean, where have you been? Where have you been tonight? He said that like 5 minutes ago, and you completely.
Look, I don't even know who the guy is. We've so many Simons in the stream. Lawler, you say? Don't know.
I've just read Wayne's latest post. Actually, Des, you want to pop that one up?
Wow, over 100. Is there time to back out? No. Take it on the chin, man. To be honest, we've been looking to track people down into this role for weeks now.
I mean, I will say this as a very proud Welshman. But that England job, and when I talk to people about it, and they kind of go, yeah, it'll be fine. And then you do. I remember a couple of conversations we had, Paul, when you first took it. And you were talking about, and then you do the right thing, which is you then go, well, okay, if somebody's taking the time to show an interest, I've got to go and find out a bit about them, because I can't just say no if I don't know who they are.
I was incredibly proud and humbled, and absolutely loved being picked, and I never want to do it again.
Oh dear.
And you know what? I think you'll probably find most England skippers in the past will say a very similar thing. Loved it, but the pressure of actually having to try and pick a side is just crazy. It's but I've got every confidence Wayne will be absolutely superb, and he will pick a awesome team along with himself.
Could be.
And hey, maybe this could be England's year. You never know.
Could be England's year.
They'll be invincible.
To be honest, we say that with a bit of a smile every year. There's a certain sort of joy in just from Leigh and I, with our Celtic background, sort of saying could be England's year, right? And as somebody who's been saying it for Liverpool for 30 years,
because to be honest, because we know with Dan skipper in the Welsh, Wales are going to win it. We already know that. I mean, it's just that's what's going to happen, isn't it? So
we know they'll go into day 2 as absolute outsiders. They'll have had a horrifying day 1, but then in the MTT, they'll smash it.
Yeah,
talking about smashing it, Lee. Talking about smashing it.
Oh God.
7 up to Coke 0 within 6 days. Okay. No idea.
Oh,
don't know do not know what he's talking about. Do not know.
What I will say though, Des, is is I mentioned Jen's been away for the week and just literally flew back into Bournemouth Airport today. She said she saw a football flying past a plane as she was coming in.
Mo.
She thinks it might have been Salah's penalty.
Yeah,
she's not
to
sure.
Be honest,
but yeah.
To be honest, I let out a banshee wail when that occurred. And tonight is the night for a banshee wail, as it transpires.
Do you know what I would say about that? Just on that, I thought Salah's face was genuinely literally whoops. like not sure what happened there.
Well, to be honest,
I thought it was quite. It just his attitude is fantastic. It just is just okay. Yeah, shit happens.
But I mean, I like the fact that a lot of that stuff just seems to just go off of him. He doesn't seem to carry it with him, and I think that's really, really good. No issues with that. But I thought that one kick, was so such a good summary of the week that we'd had.
I think I've just seen it falling from the sky.
Yeah,
actually.
still going.
Out the window.
If you want to know where it is, just chat GPT the hell out of that. Simon is in there. Just need a good red pen. Indeed, I think he's talking about Wayne there as opposed to a pen for the Reds. Mr. Fisher says, I say put Peter in the team again, or just go for the Dutch team. What's he suggesting? You can't do that. You can only do that in rugby.
Well, I mean, the Dutch team obviously, won it the last event before COVID, before the break. So back out in Vienna, they absolutely crushed it. And to be honest, they turned up last year with high hopes, and it just really just goes to show that sometimes you can just have a proper bad couple of days where stuff doesn't go for you, and it wasn't. But they will come back strong this year, I've no doubt.
Absolutely.
Simon, can I? Oh, sorry.
Yes. No, please.
Can I just point out, we're on my challenge, by the way. I've already hit my target of getting 10 of these things into conversation. And Leigh, you've just inadvertently done one as well.
Oh, no. Well, can you? Oh, come on. You got to do a reveal.
No. There's loads more that I can try and get through.
Oh, you keep going. I'm impressed.
See if anyone picks up on it before the end.
I'll be completely honest. I'd already forgotten about it. And now you've reminded me. Now I'm switched onto it now. Right?
That I've already hit my target. Yeah.
I'm switched onto it now. We'll get there. It'll be fine.
I'm still trying to picture in my mind who Simon Lawler is. I mean, I've got the name, but I just can't put a face to him. Simon Lawler says, a lovely guy, Simon Lawler. Will we be getting Italy and Portugal in this year? Oh, I'd have thought so. Thought so.
There's high hopes, obviously. Big one
this year.
Yeah, it's going to be a big one. It's we're hoping that all pretty much all countries that have represented previously will be in. As we've got three-way hand here, which is was that Stu picked up the
Stu gets that one. We have to sort of throw him one every now and again to keep him interested.
Yeah, indeed. Asa says it would be the 10th anniversary of our last win. So, of course, Asa won with Stewie and Carl, and I want to say Steve Redfern, of course. And was there one more? I think it was a fiver, wasn't it? It was a 5.
Yeah, it was 5.
Person
yeah.
I can't remember who the 5th one is. I'm sure it'll go in the chat box, but that would have been, I guess, 2013.
Trippier. So, did you say Trippier?
It was. Yeah, it was.
Was Tony, it Tony? It was Tony. Tony.
Yeah.
Absolute mon.
Whipped in a great river cardle from the right hand side. Yeah, it was that was
Stephen says, is there also an online WCOAP mini or something like that this year? I would certainly hope so. More to follow on that.
Yeah, more for those that have been asking about online, and I know it sounds like we're just doing the usual Des Duffy soon thing. We are desperately working in the background to try and get this sorted and up and running. And we have got some big plans for online this year once we can get it all signed off and agreed. So as soon as we can tell you, we will, and that will then mean that we'll be looking at having similar events online that we've got live, plus a load of other stuff as well. So
that's right, and just get your pokey crypto apps loaded up, guys.
Yeah.
Dan says there's no shame in coming second. Quite right. He's right. Silver medal. No shame in that at all. Wayne says, thanks for all the well wishers. I will be posting over the next week asking for applications. It's almost like he's listened for the last 15 minutes and hasn't learned a single thing. Pick your team, man. Don't post for applications. Don't do that. Stefan says, if there is, I hope Party have the legal stuff for Netherlands so we can play. It's not going to be Party. That's all we can say. There will be a party, but not a party. And Mr.
And
Wigglesworth,
but what I will say just on that is whoever we're with, we unfortunately are stuck by whatever legal rules and regs there are out there. We'll try and find a provider that is is available in all jurisdictions. The reality of it, if you look at the poker world in general now at the moment, there's not many that actually can pretty much hit every single country. So we'll, as always, we'll do the best we can.
yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, that was the greatest bit of footnoting that I've heard on here for a long time. Peter says,
sorry, I've just hero called Austin, and
what's happened? Where's it gone?
I enjoy getting calls right against Austin because it doesn't happen very often.
Mr. Wigglesworth, Marion Giori was talking of getting a Hungarian team together. I think that would be awesome. And Tom is long way down the negotiation route with a lot of people on this. Do you know, Leigh, not 15 minutes before we went on air, I had a DM from somebody saying, a US team, right? I can put a US team in. So I said, speak to Tom. Tom's your man. Speak to Tom.
we've already been having discussions with people around the US team. We were talking last year with one particular individual around a US team. So that's a very, very strong possibility that's going to happen.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
Simon says GG maybe. Oh, can't say.
Well, I don't think it's good game yet. I mean, I've still got money in front of me. I've got chips. It's looking okay at the moment.
You're getting better.
Yeah. I mean, it's like
Simon says, Mr. Allen, I was born in Australia. Nice. Time me down, son.
Good for you, mate.
Stefan says, then I can GG Poker that have most legal stuff for a lot of countries. I'm not entirely sure what he said there, but I think...
It sounded very technical. Very technical to me.
It sounded like we need to check that out. Asa says, talking of the US, GB played them in a baseball yesterday and actually took the lead. A baseball game. GB can't have taken the lead, surely, against the US in baseball. But
can you not just bat first and score a point? Is that technically taking the lead?
I think it probably is. I don't know quite how they do it. Dan says, I have a Greek uncle who, of course, married his Welsh aunt. Yeah.
That's very German then, all of a sudden. Yeah.
Simon says, I was angling for a team entry. APAT angling? I think so. Why not?
Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
I think we could get our rod in that pie.
Social fishing. I like it. It's,
talking about social fishing, Top Mod Fish says Karibi dance. And now that's coming from Twitch. So that might mean something all the way over there. It doesn't mean a lot to us here.
Whenever you get anything in the Twitch chat, it very rarely makes very much sense.
I sometimes have to really look hard at it to figure out whether or not I should push the button on it or not. And Asa says,
see, I was looking. This was looking so good, and it just looked really bad, and I really can't see me being in a good spot here. So I think we'll.
Sorry, I lost concentration for a second. All I could hear was Des saying that he wants to put his rod in Simon Allen.
Sorry, mate. Did somebody suggest that as one of the 10 phrases to get into the show?
People will talk. People will talk.
Oh, no. So apparently, GB, they scored in the first innings, took the US till the third innings to score. Obviously, the US ended up winning. Oh, yeah. There you go. Crikey, that was a wave of chat, wasn't it? I think we're up to date now.
Very, very nice indeed. So that's the home nations captains out. Obviously, some of the other countries' captains will already be aware of because they'll be in discussions anyway. But Tom will get more info out on that as soon as we can. Obviously, next focus for us is UK and Ireland event in London in a couple of weeks' time. So again, Tom's posted up some details on that, and we're getting into what is a huge live schedule for us for 2023. So loads going on from that point of view.
It's a good time. It feels like it's going to be a very buoyant season, I have to say. Lots of interesting little things happening.
Oh, and Tristan's in the chat. It's don't forget, guys, we've got a game at Asper. Yeah, I've just mentioned it, Tristan. Don't worry, because it's Tristan's like it's his home. It's like his home game for the year is at Aspers, And obviously Tristan's always very generous with his bullets at London. Likes to support it, make sure the prize pool's nice and decent for the weekend. So it's all good. Talking about firing bullets. You played the Colossus.
Thanks. That's a nice segue.
You played the Colossus. But so obviously WSOP circuit event up in Nottingham. I mean, how's it looking up there? What's the setup like? Is it everything you'd hope from a WSOP circuit? First time you played?
I mean, it feels 0%. It feels 0% like a WSOP event. It's got the big logo there and everything, but it's been quite sparsely populated. I think the numbers are a little bit lower than they might have hoped. The main event is until next weekend, of course, and I'll be there. Are you coming up for that, by the way? You're hopefully I'm gonna see you there, aren't I? You're gonna come up for that?
The plan is I'm going to come up for a couple of days. At the end of the week.
There's room in my house, mate. So
so
I'll make up for the fact that this weekend has been totally dry by taking down the main event next weekend instead.
Nice.
Yeah, so I played the Colossus and I played the PLO on Friday.
And how was what was the structures like? Because I'm assuming it's like 15-minute clock and that kind of thing. It's normal standard stuff these days. What the players want, it's what the players want.
No, they were 30-minute clocks on both. I'm never particularly happy about having antes in pot limit tournaments as there was in the PLO, but fine that they had that. Structures were okay. I mean, the PLO was only a 1 day, but they started it at 30-minute clock, proper structure. So and that got, I think, how many runners did that get in the end? I think it was less than 100, and then there's been about 100 for each of the day ones of the Colossus.
So are they hitting guarantees then, Paul? Do you know, or?
So the PLO was a 25k guarantee, so they only needed 50 for that, so that was fine. That was no problem. Colossus, I can't remember what the guarantee was. Sorry.
I know they just missed out the ladies' event. I think they missed it by a couple of thousand. I think in that from what I heard. And
both Natalie and Joe were up for that one. I saw Natalie yesterday. She left me on Friday, but the Saturday, both of them two were there. The other thing, the satellites kind of bugged me a little bit. I don't mean to sound sort of down about the whole thing, because it's a great festival and everything, and I'll look forward to the next weekend. But two problems with the satellites. One is that they're satellites only into day 1A, and I get that they want people to play in the midweek day ones because otherwise they don't. But I mean, it stopped me from playing two of them. I couldn't play whether it's Thursday or Friday because it's another day off work if I played that. So the only day one of the main that I could play was the Saturday, so I didn't play the satellite. And two of them just didn't run at all. They just didn't get enough to get them running at all.
Oh wow!
So that was a little bit disappointing. Hopefully both the experience and the outcome will be better next weekend. But it's been good to be up at it. All the DTD regs there, and a lot of the the UK Tour regs are up there. So it's relatively
well. Looking at the chat here, Des, it looks like there's going to be quite a few people heading up to play that event next weekend.
Well, this was really interesting from Waza. We had an APAT bracelet winner picking up a ring last week. Who was that? Anybody? I mean, clearly.
I'm assuming it wasn't one of the UK. Well, I'm assuming it wasn't one of the UK. Maybe it was one of the UK events, but obviously there is also a WSOP event happening over in the States as well. So. But I'm assuming it must be from the UK. But
let us know what.
Yeah, because I've not actually seen. I've not even looked at the results yet. So if it's one of the ones that's already been done, give us a name.
Yeah,
I'd love to know who that is. Yeah.
Well, let me just update in the chat, guys, because there's a ton of stuff going through. Mr. Wigglesworth, I'm up at 6:20 a.m. for Cheltenham week. It's going to be very busy in the betting shops next week, right?
Yeah.
Big week in the racing world. Big week in the gambling world. Marion says,
if you want, just on that, Sky are doing their money back on the first race each day again this week. Which I'm kind of off my sports betting at the moment, but that is a ridiculous offer if you've got a Sky account and you fancy having a bit of a go at it. Not that I'm a neighbour.
Oh, he's just disappeared.
Oh, wait. I was wondering if that was my end or Lee's. Lee.
Your audio's just disappeared, Lee.
You've gone full Norman Collier, mate.
Jen's pulled your plug.
Yeah, no, Lee, we cannot hear you at all.
You've gone, mate. You've gone.
This
While Leigh tries to...
This isn't lies. This isn't lies. We actually can't hear you
Yeah,
at all.
the BBC have access to our control panel here. They just pulled the plug on Leigh. He must have been talking about... Oh, well, I can't say. Are you back now, Leigh?
I've no idea, but obviously
there
not.
you go. You're back.
Yeah,
You're back.
Oh, well,
You're back now.
that's really weird because I literally
Very
did nothing.
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing whatsoever, and it's come back. So what I was saying was the Sky Bet offer is money back on losing on the first race each day, which is just silly. So it's if you fancy having a go at Cheltenham this week, that's a good one to get stuck into.
Do it. Always loved Cheltenham when working with betting companies. Just a fantastic week for the internals. I worked with Sky Bet in particular. I remember it being such a big thing that the trading director would write an email to the entire Sky Bet staff every morning of Cheltenham, sort of saying, this is what happened yesterday and we made this much money, and, you know, just bringing everybody really into the whole sort of experience, which was very nice. Marion's in the chat and says, could happen. So he's talking about the Hungarian team for the WCOAP. He said he's playing in Aspers next. I might ask around. It's a hotbed of Hungarian poker at Aspers. We'd love to see you there, Marion, for sure. Trish says all about the timing. Did Alston make another play? That's the only thing that could be about?
Yeah.
Chris Bean is in there. He says, I lived in Gibraltar for 2 weeks. Can I set up a team? Absolutely. 2 weeks is about right. I think we could get you in for that.
Sorry, have I just seen that Stuart Lockley has just started watching? Bearing in mind that I'm on 14 of these bloody things. That
he's only joined now.
I've got 14 of them, and he's probably heard like the last one or two. Oh my God, he's only now is he joined.
Stuart, if you've just joined, we can't confirm that he's had 14 of them because he won't share any of the fun with us.
For the most observant viewers, they may have noticed me ticking one off every now and again when I say one of these things.
We might get more views on demand, Leigh.
It is a little bit niche, but I did slip in one that I thought might have given it away to anyone that's maybe of a certain age and you know of similar popular cultural interests to me maybe, but they still haven't picked up on it.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Too many things ongoing here. I mean, just trying to keep Leigh's audio live is.
Well, I'm trying to play poker at the same bloody time.
So
you know how I feel, every week.
This was always going to happen. It was always going to be this game that I ran the best in, like not the World Series circuit event that I've just been at like for the whole weekend, but this poxy little cash game on the APAT. I'm sorry, I don't mean to.
That's outrageous slur on our brand, Leigh. What'll we do? We'll give his name to Tom Brady, right? Just take him off the England list for future years. That's what we'll do.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. So we mentioned.
I thought this was a safe environment. I thought I could say
it's not that safe.
It's
not that safe.
This is the APAT show speakeasy.
We're like elephants around here. We never forget, unless it comes to the content that generally we're talking about 5 minutes previously. Talking of which, you did mention, of course, that lots of people going up to DTD. Peter Wigglesworth being one of them. I think I saw Tristan has also said he's going up. Dan says Colossus missed its 100k guarantee.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
100.
Well, that does
333. That was a 300 buy-in, so it wouldn't have missed it by much then, because both of the 2 day ones that I played got about 100, and there was one other one. So it might have done by a little way.
Dan said the guy that won the seniors won a bracelet in Vienna. So I wasn't at the Vienna
I just
event,
saw his name. Is that Mike Beard? Was it Mike Beard? I think was it the name I think I saw come through on. I think somebody posted in the chat.
Yeah. 2019 bounty winner Mike Beard won the seniors. Nice. That's from Warren. So well done to him.
Not quite old enough to have played that, but not far off these days.
And Susie Sizzle Williamson won the ladies event. I remember Susie playing a lot of events last year. Good for her. Awesome. Simon says my offer is 0 money back. Lol. No, I'm not betting there. It's just. Oh my God, there's so much of it. Carry on talking, guys. I'll look through the chat, see if there's any other golden nuggets to be brought out. Mr. Baker has joined us. Evening to you, Rich.
Paul Hollywood.
It's all Cheltenham. They've all got super excited by the thought of a bit of money going in and out of their accounts for Cheltenham. Stuzza Lockley. I'm going to have to watch the rerun. He is.
So
it's the only way he'll get it done.
He joins in after I've already done in 13 of them. Yes, you need to watch the rerun. Yeah, you owe me a pint.
Cheltenham is a funny week though, isn't it? Because people do just go absolutely crazy for it, and it's. I don't know whether the rating is actually necessarily that that amazing, but it's properly been hyped to a level now where it is just. It's probably up there beyond like the Grand National or anything like that. It's just become the horse racing event of the year, isn't it?
Yeah, for ordinary people, I think it's a race that reaches just a far wider audience. A lot of people go to Cheltenham. So Simon,
I've only been once. Have you ever been? I've only ever been once.
Personally, no, haven't.
Never been.
Did you not get invited back in season 4 when Betfair was sponsoring us? I went corporate with Betfair. Did you not get that invite, Des?
I took their money, Lee.
I just came back with a yellow scarf.
Left,
that's
Lee.
all I had. Yeah.
They had none left. I was busy negotiating sort of Brazilian style T-shirts for the membership. Right, then, right?
Yeah. Which Simon Lawler still loves that T-shirt. Yeah.
That can be seen occasionally in Nottingham at a WCOAP. Waz's back in. Mike and Susie get to play the $1 million Tournament of Champions.
Yeah,
free roller. Nice. We'll have that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, nice.
Who's in that? Everybody that wins a ring in the year, I presume. Is that how it works?
And obviously any bracelet. It's the last event.
So they get into that one. Oh, so that gets you into that. One which we went to watch. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because that's just a free roll, isn't it?
That's one to mark on the calendar, isn't it?
They're just following on from what we did in Bolton, I want to say, in 2012, Lee. Just copying us.
But that was the one that Espen literally rolled. He rocked up and just late reg at the very last minute, the main event winner from last year, and just sat down and didn't play many hands, if I remember rightly.
Wow.
Very nice.
Asa
very nice.
Has done his poker for the night. So told you, early night for Asa. He had a decent second in the 6-card pillow, $11 bounty. Well done. Decent profit on the night for Asa. Pete says it's the best jump racing event of the year, clearly. Miles above the rest, says Dan. Great T-shirt, says Simon Lawler.
There you go.
And we love the fact that you still wear it, Simon. We love that. Pete says jockeys and trainers want the win, so there's no fixing. Oh, that's pleasing. That's good. Mr. Pilgrim is on, right? We are indeed blessed this evening. Nice to see Paul with his Christmas decorations still.
What's
going on, Paul?
I'm gonna put him on just for Pilgrim.
Whilst Carl's, I mean, we've got this to talk about further down the line, but I will just let you into. Look at that. I will just let you into some. So we've mentioned obviously the million at the World Series. So what they've qualified for. So obviously the World Series is coming round. Well, I had that. It was that moment this week, Des, where I get a message from Carl Pilgrim saying, Leigh, can you update the graphics for the fantasy competition ready to go? So him and John are getting ready to start teasing everybody with getting your picks in, getting your teams in for fancy WSOP this year. So the graphics have been updated.
Fantastic.
They're ready to go. So watch the space. It won't be far off.
Now that you've had that DM, I know I'm due a DM shortly to say, Des, any chance we can get an old seat? Can we get an old seat for it? So Carl, save yourself the DM. Of course you can have a seat. There will be a free APAT seat. What can we get over? £25 seat, Leigh? A £25 seat. 25 plus £2.50.
we can afford. It's cost of living, so 25 sounds about right. Yeah, we can afford that.
Is it even the series if we don't have the fantasy series as well? It's like they're parallel lines, right? You have to have the two.
Yeah. You've got it. I might actually genuinely take it serious this year and actually properly do some research into this. Or then again, I could just go with the comedy approach. Yeah. Do people actually ask Carl? Carl's got he's got his Rolodex out, isn't he? And he's worked through all the players and who's playing what. I've got a feeling that this year there's going to be. I thought the volumes last year were pretty good for the series. I think this year could be absolutely nuts.
You can
really do think it could be crazy numbers.
You can subscribe to Carl's data feed, right? It's $29.99 for the month, right? but you get all of the feeds. He will tell you, because he's spoken to them all, which players are playing what events. Incredible stuff. 29, it's well worth it. That's why we only give him a £25 seat, right? Because he's just coining it in on the other end.
So Warren's saying that the Tournament of Champions has moved to the 31st of May. So it's only picking up everybody before the series. Yeah. So it'll be all of the circuit winners and online winners only.
And last year's champions?
Okay.
I wonder last year's
maybe last year, maybe last year's bracelet winners.
Last year's bracelet winners have already had the opportunity to play the one that was at the end of the series last year. So
yeah, so maybe it'll switch around this year. Yeah, maybe they've switched it up and just decided actually that's something. Yeah, that's what they're going to do with it. Interesting. Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
Absolutely. So I'm slowly depleting this. I've had a couple of wins earlier on in this cash game, and ever since we've started talking, I've not really done very much since then. But we've got there's a bit money on the table here, which is actually makes a change. And I've actually got more than $20, which is
everyone's worked out how to auto rebuy to max this week, which was a little bit of a problem last week. But yeah, I've got. I'm chip leader here, and maybe I need to be the bully boy a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely. That could be the case. Yeah, to say the least. So I suppose we should talk about the ridiculous story that's been hitting most of the headlines this week, and has certainly had a huge impact on football coverage over the weekend. What's your take on it, Des? To start with, just the kind of how it's all come about, and
I think it's somebody said something about timing in the chat box earlier. I think it's a classic example of the BBC probably just missed timing their response to Lineker. I think whether his contract states he can comment on political type stuff or not. He should be entitled to comment, as he sees fit in his own spaces. I mean, it's tricky, right? In that respect, it's tricky. I don't know what his contract says. But nonetheless, I think the story is much more in the BBC's rather heavy-handed sort of approach to it and the instant support that he got from the industry. So if you sat there managing your BBC sport department at the moment, you're probably going, shit, this needs to be resolved quickly. And I don't quite see how we can put the hammer down further on Gary Lineker, because there's a danger that we're going to lose a lot of people here. So unless you're willing to change your entire rota, it's hard to see how it doesn't get resolved in Lineker's favour during the week.
I thought it was an interesting example of how misinformation and the facts can easily get twisted online, and there were a number of posts and a number of comments made where they were missing one of the key elements of what he actually posted, which was the word language, because he wasn't for one moment comparing asylum laws or asylum seekers to anything that happened in 1930s Germany or the Holocaust, anything like that whatsoever. He was comparing the language that one organization was using against what the other organization was, and actually I think probably what he was suggesting there was fairly accurate.
Organization being the government.
Yeah. In what he was saying, but of course it was quite interesting how it quickly got twisted in. Well, he's suggesting this. Well, no, that isn't what he was suggesting at all. Language was what he was talking about, which got missed off quite a lot of other people's views and comments on it. Yeah,
it did. Yeah.
What's your thoughts on it, Paul?
A little stronger. So I think I find myself defending the BBC a lot. I like when you're the state broadcaster, and you have to try and toe that line of impartiality. You're always going to get people on the left claiming that it's too far to the right, and people on the right claiming that it's too far to the left. So, like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. Difficult position when it comes to all of this stuff. So that's the kind of preface to it. The other preface to it is that I really like Gary Lineker. I like him as a guy. I like the fact that he sticks to his guns on points like this. I love the fact that he hasn't apologized for this, and I also like the fact that he is someone that follows through what he believes with actual action as well, rather because people accuse him of virtue signaling all the time, and it's not like he's literally housed refugees in his own house and always promotes their cause and all the rest of it. So that's the kind of sort of declaring an interest disclaimer to it. I think the BBC in this case, much as I love it, has been stupid, unfair, ill thought out, and massively hypocritical in the way that they've handled it. So the two things that he said. So as you rightly say, at no point did he compare the actual policy of governments to Nazis, and that's what everyone wants to immediately jump on. There's two things. There's one that said that the policy is cruel, and there's one that says that the language is similar to what you heard from the Germans in 1930. The latter is just a fact, and okay, he's used his platform that he's got these millions of followers to make that point, but it's nevertheless irrefutably true that the language is similar to that kind of thing. The first bit, the bit about the policy itself, he called it immeasurably cruel, and okay, yes, that's subjective and that's his personal viewpoint. But if you're going to suspend someone for that, then at least have some consistency. So firstly, he's Gary Lineker. It's not the first time he's done it. He's done it several times over the years. And the response in previous years has always been, it's his personal, private platform that he's using to do that. We employ him on a freelance basis. He's not an employee of the BBC. And you don't have to follow Gary Lineker on Twitter. Right, and that's always been a perfectly good response before now. So why different this time? And by the way, if he'd come out and used his platform and he'd tweeted massively in favour of the government's policy towards this, do you think we'd be going through this shit now? Of course not. Like it's just as much of a political statement for him to come out and say, yes, massively support the way the government's going about this, but absolutely no chance that there'd be any the kind of storm that we're seeing now. So don't be so hypocritical about it from that point of view. But the wider point to it, and the bigger sort of more concerning piece of hypocrisy around it, that for me is just the structure of the BBC and the kind of people that are influencing it now. So the chairman is a Tory donor, the director general was a former Tory council candidate, the director of news they appointed from GB News, the most right wing in platform that the UK's ever had. I think it's been abhorrent the way that they've handled it, and I really worry about the future of the BBC and political influence over it. And by the way, anyone moaning about cancel culture and freedom of speech and all of those things that people often rant about, and how everything's so woke these days, whatever the fuck that means, and or you can't say anything these days without fear of getting cancelled. If you can say all of that and now support the BBC in suspending Gary Lineker, you can just piss off.
Right?
Like,
just
stop.
Yeah.
So that's my view on it, since you ask.
Oh, it's a good, strong view. Clearly, well thought through. Mr. Allen's out there. I have an opinion on this. We know he does.
Yeah, me too, mate. Yeah.
Seen a thread on that. Mr. Pilgrim has gone. Night, guys. Catch up soon. Definitely. Always good to catch up with Carl. Dan Williams says, Paul, 90s game show references. So
I've responded to that. So
yeah, he has indeed.
Vaguely, there's a relevance to the 1990s thing, but it's there you go. You've got my response up. It's not game shows. It's
not game shows.
It's more of a musical thing. To give it away a little bit more.
So back on the Lineker, where do we think this is going to end? Because obviously the what happened over the weekend was a complete decimation of the football, certainly the footballing content. I think some other sports still carried on, but certainly everybody pretty much stood up in solidarity. Even the guys on Radio 5 Live that were doing the live comms made a comment of how difficult this was, but they felt that it was appropriate for them to be doing it. And so I mean, do we think that come next weekend this is going to be resolved, or are we talking longer for this to get? Is this going to get sorted out pretty quick? Yeah.
I think the storm in a teacup that is Gary Lineker himself will probably get resolved, and I think he'll be back presenting Match of the Day, if not next week, then in a couple of weeks. But I think the aftershock of it, I think will rumble on for a long time. I think the BBC will end up with egg on its face, and
yeah.
and the ill thought out bit of how did they not see this coming, like in terms of the response to it from all of Lineker's co-hosts and the wider football media community. Of course, they were going to rally behind him.
It became very obvious very quickly that if anybody offered to step in and present Match of the Day this weekend, they were going to be pretty much saying goodbye to their career by doing it, because the response from the public would have been just insane. So it was fairly obvious quickly that no one was going to actually step in and do this. Pretty much everybody was going to take the view, it's not anything I want to touch, really.
Yeah. But it's quite obvious from the action taken that the BBC hadn't considered that would become a thing as quickly as it became a thing.
Yeah.
So I think they reverse super quickly. I think they've already started the process by referring to Lineker as an excellent broadcaster, outstanding. The objective now is to get him back on screen as soon as we can. So I think they've already started to reverse. But it's a shameful reversal for a national broadcaster to have to make so publicly.
And it's really difficult for the BBC to take that stance when, if you think back to the World Cup, right?
Yeah.
And loads of people got loads of criticism for taking the Middle East coin, if you like, and working on the World Cup. But they were working for the BBC, and at the start of the coverage of the World Cup, there was a statement which Gary Lineker himself made, but the BBC wrote, that denounced the Qatari regime and their approach to the human rights record and all the rest of it, in a statement that the BBC itself prepared and gave to Gary Lineker and said, basically, read this out. So it's perfectly fine for him to make those statements when they've written it and they've told him what to say, but he can't then go and use his own personal platform to give his view on something separate.
Yeah.
That doesn't sit well at all.
Pretty shocking. So Simon Allen says, 100% agree with Paul, won't pollute the chat with my politics. Stu says, the Tories scrambling to distance themselves from the whole situation was hilarious. Simon Allen goes on, hopefully it ends with Tim Davie and Richard Sharp resigning.
I wouldn't be surprised.
They'll resign. I'm not sure they'll resign, but they might be pushed.
If something good can come out of this, then maybe it's that. But
yeah. Simon says, Simon Lawler thought it odd the political commentator thought he might be on Match of the Day 2 tonight. He certainly won't be on it in 2 weeks' time. I'll take money on it. The political commentariat thought he might be on it.
I think he could be. I presume he's referring to Mr. Lineker, and he won't be on in 2 weeks.
No,
he won't be on in 2 weeks' time.
He doesn't do Match of the Day 2 anyway.
I think that's us now.
Well, he won't be on in 2 weeks' time because it's an international break. Yeah, so that's for sure. Yeah,
I think we are now the political commentary.
Oh, I see. Trish says United ladies versus Chelsea ladies had commentary today.
Well, I can give you a bit more info on that, because what they'd actually had, that was effectively the World Service feed, which is what was provided, which is not a BBC owned solution. So basically, it's the commentary on the United Chelsea game was effectively what the comms would be for the world. Pretty much.
So it's only a few weeks away, I reckon.
How soon will it be before basically it's as a chat box? I swear it's already been used on something, and if we're finished with this, I'll talk about something which I've watched this week, which you really want to watch because it's very, very entertaining. Which is the Apple have got a new football documentary out on Real Madrid. You might want to watch it, Des, because it's last season, so it might not be one for you, to say the least. But it is an absolute Real Madrid love fest like you've never seen. It's a three part supposedly fly on the wall documentary, but it's basically just talking about Real Madrid. But watch it for nothing else than the 3 intros from the one and only David Beckham, who clearly struggles to even read an auto cue. It is absolutely priceless to watch. But I'm convinced that some of the matches, they've redone the comms. They've redone the commentary.
I'm sure they have done. I'm sure they have done.
And genuinely, if it had gone through a chatbot, you wouldn't be surprised, because the language that's used is extraordinary. I think it's aimed at the American market, but it's on Apple TV. It's quite interesting. It is well worth watching, and some good interviews and talking about the season. And you forget how much how Real Madrid came back in so many games in that season to go on and win that. How the hell did they win the Champions League last year? I just do not know, because they probably should have gone out in any of the rounds before even the final.
It's ludicrous how they stayed in.
Yeah.
But at the same stage, it's admirable.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's well worth watching. If for nothing else, to also just watch the Bernabeu development, because obviously they go through the season, so you see different bits of that happening and going on. And I got told about when we were in Nottingham with Carl, your Liverpool contact, Des. I was sat in the bar with him for a good while, and he was telling me about Real Madrid's new pitch. Apparently, have you heard this? That the pitch
goes down,
breaks up. So it breaks up in 7 strips lengthways, Paul.
Yeah, it's insane.
And when they want to remove the pitch, they slides across and drops down. And they stack up on top of each other.
There's a video. Carl sent me a video a year ago. It is an amazing feat of engineering.
So underneath each of the strips, lengthwise strips, are the lamps and everything, so the grass can keep growing. And it's set at a level where they can actually go along and mow the grass. But they're basically in 7 stacked up like a multi-story car park, all down the side of the pitch. So they remove the entire pitch when they want to do events and stuff at the new Bernabeu.
Nice.
Insane. It's absolutely nuts. But fair play to them.
They had David Beckham on to explain that.
No, not to explain that.
David Beckham quote. I think he'd just been booked a couple of games in a row for Man U, and there was an interview with him afterwards, and said, would you describe yourself as quite a volatile player, David? And he said, yeah, I think that probably is fair, because I've played on the left and the right and through the middle.
Yeah,
that sounds about right.
Absolutely brilliant. Yeah.
Talking
about Qatar, did you see the Beckham Qatar the sales stuff that he did, the videos that he did for the Qatari stuff for the World Cup?
No.
Have you not? Oh,
good.
You want to go and dig those out, because they are priceless. He loves the country.
Everybody.
He loves the he loves the country. Oh, it's my this is my favorite spice market. If I wanted, this is my. I love
my favorite spice market. Really?
Yeah.
Surely not.
Oh no, dig them out. They'll be on YouTube. So they are brilliant.
Yeah, no.
Absolute quality.
Going from Beckham, Stuart Anthony Ward. Can we talk about Burnley being horrible rule-breaking scumbags? Can we ban him? Can we just, BBC style moderate Stu Ward from saying awful stuff like that?
Well, but to be fair,
they're doing well though, aren't they? Burnley.
Wow. They're doing well, but they have broken the rules.
What have they? What rules have they broken?
And it is. So Burnley are officially under a transfer embargo now, which is handy because we're not in a transfer window, so that's convenient. But they actually have been late in submitting accounts and financial information to the Football League. So they are that's come out today, breaking news today. So they are genuinely in some hot water for that. I don't think anything much is going to come for it, because they've just put them under, as I say, a transfer embargo. Which, to be honest, if anyone was under a transfer embargo this time of year, well, I don't think it's a big deal, is it? So, and they apparently will get it resolved within a month. That's why Natalie's not on the show tonight. She's busy at home with a spreadsheet, just popping it all together to get the numbers
she's in
sorted.
Court. She's in court.
She's doing the legals
as we speak.
So getting it sorted won't be an issue. So
this is altogether more serious for Mr. Ward. Simon Lawler says, any legs in the Carrick to West Ham job? It's going to be a rumour. Interesting. I could see that having some.
I mean, sometimes you get rumours and you go, yeah, that's not like. But obviously, Carrick has got some serious West Ham history there. He's certainly doing the business at Middlesbrough. I don't think anybody can criticise that. I mean, what I would say is when he was at United, he was only stepped into the manager's role for about 3 or 4 games towards the end of the season, then decided it wasn't for him. He wasn't ready for it. But actually, a lot of people in the background did comment on the good work he was doing as a coach there. It's just the setup around him wasn't great, and Ollie wasn't really, the right person for it. But a lot of people said a lot of good things about him, and he's gone to Middlesbrough and has turned that team around. And Stu's been on the show and said, numbers said, basically, hasn't got a bad word to say about Carrick. So it doesn't surprise me in the slightest, because West Ham at the moment, you may wonder how long Moyes got there, really.
Well, you say that, but have they won their last 20 games or something in the Europa League? It's like they're on an incredible run in Europe.
It's the conference, isn't it? It's the Europa Conference.
Is it the conference they're in this time round?
Yeah.
I know they're incredible. They're winning everywhere. Granted, Cyprus, but all the same.
But to be honest, Paul's lads under 10s team or whatever would probably do all right in the Europa Conference League on a Thursday night.
They were very, very unlucky to lose to Kyneton Juniors 3-2 yesterday.
Controversy reigns.
But I reckon, I reckon against the likes of West Ham, they'd be all right.
Man with his iPhone at either end, acting as the VAR. Bring it in. Let's do it. Let's do it.
But who's going down? I mean, it's looking, Bournemouth obviously. Well, we won't talk too much about the win, but the important 3 points for them. Saints picked up a point at United today. I tell you what, that relegation battle is ridiculous, isn't it? And I think one of the biggies. I think one of the big boys could go down. An Everton or a West Ham, quite possibly. One of them could find themselves not being able to keep up with the others.
Yeah, it won't be West Ham.
You don't think it will be?
I'd be surprised. Everton, possibly. Yeah, because they've been teetering now for what, 3 consecutive seasons. They've been really teetering. So possibly, yeah. Crikey. We'll have to see. It's not that far away. I mean, there aren't that many games left, right? We've suddenly hit that sort of, 13, 14 games left now?
Yeah.
You're suddenly in that sort of, it all... every match makes a difference now.
It's going to be make or break for you guys the next 3 games, isn't it? Really, what you get out of the next 3 games is going to decide whether you do top 4 or not, isn't it? I think.
Well, it probably won't, because I suspect this top 4 thing will just meander on, because Newcastle are dropping points, Spurs are going to drop points. Honestly, I think it could become a war of attrition. But it's ridiculous. It's ludicrous that Liverpool can't get the job done at Bournemouth. It's so frustrating. It's absolutely freaking ludicrous that you beat Man United and then you lose at Bournemouth. And no disrespect to Bournemouth, but you can't make top 4 if you can't beat Bournemouth, right? Anywho.
So that reminds me of my comment about Salah's penalty, saying that I think I just saw it falling out of the sky.
I know.
Falling out of the sky. So that was on the list. I've had no takers on this challenge. I've done 18. If Stu's still listening, he sent me a target of 10. I've done 18. I'm just gonna straight read the 18 out and see if anyone.
Hang on. So the Salah one falling out of the sky, yeah.
Falling from the sky, yeah.
Falling from the sky.
Yes.
And it's a 90s reference.
Mostly, not entirely. Actually,
I'll tell you, we'll be the judge of whether these are credible. Sort of get these on air statements.
Shall I read out the other things that I've said?
Yeah, let's do it.
Of the show this evening. There's 18 of them. I've said the following. I've said getting better. I've said on standby. I've said lies. I've said where have you been tonight? I thought that was quite a good one to get in there. One that might give it you. I've said going for gold in there. I've said bully boy. High hopes. You've said high hopes, Leigh. You got that one in without any prompt from me. Well, it doesn't go like that, but along those lines.
My one does.
Room in my house. I managed to get in there when I was talking about you coming and staying at mine for the circuit event next week.
I'll be honest. I did wonder what crowbarred in me coming up to stay with you the weekend.
There's room in my house. Yeah, it's not easy. I've said speak easy. I got the word speak easy, and then no one has ever said that on the APAT show before. I've got the heroes in there, Mark, Invincible, Cry for Help. I got in there when I was talking about Wayne needing help with his England team selection. Parallel Lines, This Day Was Ours, Falling from the Sky.
Are we song titles?
People will talk. We are indeed song titles, yeah. And the one that I thought might give it away for some people, when I was talking about, I saw Natalie on Saturday, but she left me on Friday. If you don't know she left me on Friday, then I'm sorry, but you don't know music. You two still aren't getting it from that list of 18 songs by this particular band. You're still not getting it. What an absolutely
that just sounds like a standard APAT show right there. All of those are pretty standard.
Of course, Simon gets it. Simon's in there first. Good lad.
If I remember correctly, 10 years ago on our WCOP, we had things like Cunnilingus and all sorts of really interesting phases to get in. Not bloody obscure 90s song references.
That's the difference between you and me then, isn't it, Des?
Our show went on for an hour and 40 minutes. Oh, God. Mind you, all of that was retakes, right? We had to cut shit out.
So Simon has said he's a massive fan of this band and he's ashamed that he didn't get it earlier. And so you should be, Simon. I'm very disappointed.
Shed 7.
So Stu and I got tickets to go and see Shed 7 in a couple of months. So when I went for dinner with him earlier on, I mentioned that I was on the show, and he set me a target of getting the titles of 10 Shed 7 songs into the show.
I'll
And
be honest.
I've exceeded expectations and come up
I
with
would
18.
struggle. I'd struggle to probably even think of 1 or 2 Shed 7 songs. And
Well, you know 18 now.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. They're mostly album title, album. Yeah, like,
Oh.
dear,
Album
dear.
how dare
But
you?
I like it though. That's quite impressive. But clearly, yeah, nobody got it. I mean, you did say it was pretty niche. Well,
It's a little bit obscure, but I mean, I don't know how many people are listening, but two people have got it, both Simon and Simon and Simon.
Yep.
So I'm going back to playing big pots against Houston. So let me just
this looks
let me
on
just-
this
let me just
board.
concentrate
I
on this
got
a
out the
second.
way. I got out the way of this because I really didn't like this flop. But I'm
Yeah,
now kind of
okay.
thinking,
Yeah, I mean, it was always so. Which street are you going to hit his quads on? Turn or river?
Hell. A river, obviously.
There's my full.
Ooh.
Send it.
and you're good.
Wow.
And you're good.
Wow. Hand, sir.
52. I just play this game. I don't know why I do live tournaments anymore. I should just play PLO cash.
I tell you guys, tonight is Oscars night. I was saying to Leigh before we went on air, I've never actually watched the Oscars. Of course, generally super late at night. Never felt super calling to watch it. We've got a few Irish films in there tonight. Hopefully picking up gongs. I'm going to look at it tonight. Planning to.
Well, I think I think the best picture is absolutely nailed on, isn't it? I mean, there's no way it's not going to be the bookie's favourite. Yeah.
Which is the bookie's favourite?
No, Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh, really? Oh, I thought the war one, which actually was a very
all Quiet on the Western Front is no. I think best picture is Everything Everywhere All at Once is going to be is pretty much nailed on for.
I'm just going to bed now. I'm not going to watch it any longer.
The Banshees of Inisherin up for it or not?
Yeah, it is. I think that's kind of in the top 3. I reckon. I mean, it's not to say that you don't get a surprise. I mean, you can get a surprise in the fact that they'll call out the wrong film. I mean, there is that possibility.
That was my former employer's fault, not while I was working for them. I hasten to add, but in the inquest that all came.
Yes, because it was because of the auditors, isn't it? Yeah,
PwC's fault. Yeah.
But I think actor wise, I think Brendan Fraser is the favourite to pick up Best Actor. Michelle Yeoh is favourite to win Best Actress.
So Brendan Fraser is supporting actor, right, with Barry Keogh. Both of those, I think, got nominated, if I'm not mistaken. Best Actor, I think Banshees was Colin Farrell.
Yeah, Colin Farrell's in the mix. Yeah,
Barry Keogh, interestingly, won the BAFTA for Best Supporting Actor, so he beat Fraser. So it'll be really interesting to see how that goes. But of course, completely different audience tastes, perhaps. We will see.
Yeah, have you watched any of these?
I've seen the Banshees movie. I've seen the Western Front movie. That's pretty much it. That's it, I think. That's
2 more than me, I'm afraid.
Yeah, that's about it.
I haven't kept up with them at all. I tend to I'm into more TV shows than movies these days.
Yeah, I think
Everything Everywhere All at Once is bonkers. It's a tough watch. It's a really tough watch, but I can see why it's likely to win because it's that kind of film that
international movie. Leigh, is it subtitled? Is it something like that?
It's a mix.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh well.
So it'll be interesting to see. But so you're going to stay up and you're going to go for it then, Des? You're going to stay up and watch the lot? I don't even know what time's it go on till.
Well, it started at 11, so I think they have the red carpet thing at 11. I think the actual awards start at 12, and it goes till 3. And of course, working from home office, you don't have to be up at 6 o'clock in the morning. No trains or anything like that. So 3 o'clock till 8:30. Yeah. Happy days. Let's do it.
Simon's in the chat saying watched a little bit of Elvis. I watched Elvis this week.
I haven't seen it.
It's premiered on Sky. Yeah, superb.
Yeah, I'd love
really enjoyed that. Yeah, really good. Well worth it. But you say it's on Sky Movies at the moment. So
yeah. Simon Simon is asking, is Banshees the one with the sausage fingers? Indeed it is. Indeed it is. When you see it, you'll understand the reference. Simon also said, watch a little bit of Elvis. Wouldn't be surprised if it took some awards. So it did. I think it won a bunch, 3 or 4 awards at the...
Baz Luhrmann stuff normally does say it's visually incredible, and the soundtrack is, the soundtrack to the Elvis is incredibly good. Really good people on that. So it's a similar. Have you ever the soundtrack to Great Gatsby is another incredible visual film, but the soundtrack is absolutely superb, and certainly puts a good watching experience together.
Sean and I went out last night. We saw Dara O'Brien.
I saw him a few weeks ago.
Oh, did you? What did you think, Paul?
Yeah, really good, really good.
Really
seen him a few times, to be honest.
First time seeing him. I've seen numerous times
not a
doing
few
stand
times.
up on
That's
TV, but
that's not true. Only twice. But your first time was like over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's nice to
Really
meet
enjoyed
him. It's so kind of natural and confident, and he's obviously done it for donkey's years now, hasn't he?
Will he have done pretty much identical shows? So if you saw him a couple of weeks ago, Paul, be pretty much similar to what Des will have watched, or does he ad lib quite a lot in what he's doing?
I would say, I don't know what you thought, Des, but probably about 2/3, in the sense that he's got his core
Local
material
stuff
that he wants to get through for that show, but then he also picks out a couple of audience members, and he always does a thing on Twitter afterwards where he uses the hashtag "you had to be there," and he puts kind of obscure references to conversations he's had with the crowd, and they're all quite fun. But he's good. He's a good crowd participation kind of guy. So
it was very good.
Be very different.
When he barreled onto stage last night, he looked at his watch and he said, "I'm going to be out of here quick, lads. We're just going to have to crack on with the show tonight." I had a call from the BBC. Right, they want me on Match of the Day at 10. So he did a lot of local stuff. It just, I guess it depends on how well it flows. If it flows, he'll extend it into the show. He was very agile, very confident around the material, but he spent a lot of time talking about the fact that he was adopted. And I would imagine he did the same thing. It was very touching.
More of a personal show than
it was very touching.
Before. Yeah, I took my eldest actually. Ben went with me. He's 15, and he's a bit immune to swearing these days. But it is pretty much every other word with he's a pretty caustic Irishman. So I would have been less comfortable taking my youngest, but Ben was fine, to be honest.
Well, a guy sat beside me. With his son, and I would imagine his son was about 12 or 13, and not only he might have taken him thinking science and mock the week and what have you, but actually it's a different show, right? So it was very sweary, but some of the the jokes are properly rude and stuff, and the father was explaining a lot of it to the son. I'm so embarrassed here.
If I'd taken Arlo, my youngest, he would have spent the whole time explaining it to me.
Where did you see him? Where was he performing?
Croydon, which is fantastic for
us. Right, okay. Oh, wow.
7 minutes away on the train to get into Croydon.
I thought you were going to say O2 or something like that, or something somewhere in London.
No. God, he was in. So they're like local shows. It's was it £27 a ticket or something? You get a few beers. It's just a lovely evening out. Super. Just easy to get in and out of, and he was great value. Sean really enjoyed it, so that's a good win, right?
Mm-hmm. Nice, excellent, that's good. And I presume he's touring, just doing similar around the country. Then, I presume did you see him in a fairly small venue as well, Paul? Yeah,
it's Warwick Uni.
Okay. So it really is just smallish places.
It's the hall I graduated in, bizarrely. Cause I still live where I studied, and he played Butterworth Hall in Warwick Uni. It's quite a big venue. I don't know the exact number, but it's a fairly big venue.
Yeah, same with Croydon Fairfield. It's a pretty big venue.
It's about time Houston actually won one with his fucking 8 high. Yeah, I'll give him some money back. It is his after all.
Nice.
It was a really good show and a good venue. I see quite a few things down there. They always get performers of that kind of stature.
Yeah.
I'm just teetering above the $20 here, Des. It's not really gone well.
Are you
since my one big.
going to lead flop for 74 cents here? Oh, no.
But I mean, looking at this table here, so we've got Natalie that says I don't really play PLO, and she's $10 up. So obviously disappeared off for a little while, and has come back and added to a stack quite nicely. Stu's sat up there on nearly $40, top of the table. He's Oh
yeah, physically top of the table, as in top of the screen. Yeah,
No. Obviously, no. I was
going to dispute that, but no, you're okay.
Top of the stacks is our professional PLO player, Paul. He's got 3 times the sort of starts. And Dan Williams is just there on his $20. Been quite a night for him.
I've got nearly as much as I lost last week.
I'm nowhere near close to what I lost last week. That is for sure. Yeah, PLO is a very volatile game, isn't it? And that's a fair one to say.
Yeah, because it's played on the left and the right hand through.
That's right. You can play it at any hour of the day.
So Simon Allen says, Dara Brian's excellent. I was pretty jealous when I saw your Facebook post, Des. So.
Well, it was one of the worst pictures I've ever seen taken from a show. Sean took it, and of course I said, "No, give me the camera. I'll hold it up, and we'll get a proper picture and maybe a video." And Sean has got no, down between the seats, so nobody would see. Not my style. Not my style at all.
No, it's. If you're going to do a photo, do it properly, yeah?
That's right. Do a stand up. Right, say, excuse me, you just hold still there.
Yeah. But that's the modern way, isn't it? Now, you saw it, you see it at football matches now, is everyone's just out with their,
that's madness.
Their cameras. It's just, it's a crazy world we live in. Oh, Natalie.
Putting you to the test, Leigh. I wouldn't take that, Leigh. I wouldn't take that.
I think she's going to have a better 2-pair than me, I think.
Oh, he's got 2-pair, Paul. Are you calling there with 2-pair, Paul?
No.
That's who takes the cash.
Yes, only a little pot, isn't it? Only a little one. So we're at 23 minutes past 11. Yeah. Des, you call it when you're out. You want to say last few hands, and we'll.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be out of here at 11:30, guys.
Yeah. So it's
final episode of The Last of Us tonight, of course.
It is, yeah.
We generally talk about that when I'm on in the last few weeks. I'm 2 behind, actually. I haven't seen the penultimate one yet either.
I haven't either because, Jen's been away and we've been watching it together. So we're going to watch the remaining 2 probably tomorrow. So yeah. So
you popped that, and then Dan's repopped it. Okay, you boys play nice.
I do,
yeah. And I'm looking forward to that. And the other thing that's confirmed about it is that they've already announced that season 2 is coming out. They've also announced that Bella Ramsey is again Ellie, which makes more sense because her actual age is nearer to Ellie's age in the in the second.
You're suggesting there's a bit of a time jump?
Oh shit! Spoilers.
He's just giving a little spoiler away.
Yeah, careful.
Yeah. It's going to start like at 4 years later or something like that.
You're right. I should stop. It's a perfectly fair calling out.
I think we're going to be good to call in the $6.37 here. I think.
Here we go.
Well, I've already folded the nut flush drawer with hearts, and there's my nut flush. Lovely. Give me my cards back.
There we go. There we go. Nice, I had a sad-eyed 10-year-old come to me earlier on today, just saying, it's tomorrow night. Tomorrow night. It's the last one. So, yeah. So, do we have any idea when it'll reappear?
They haven't even started filming the second series yet. They've commissioned it, but it's
9 months?
At least. Yeah, it'll be probably this time next year, I expect. But I've no doubt there'll be a load of other things to watch in the meantime.
We had the discussion last week, which I thought was a good discussion, which was, I think both Leigh and I were sort of saying, production values are great, but it feels a little slow, right? But I think, thinking about that, I think that's because ultimately it's a 2-person show. You look at a Game of Thrones or almost any other series, and there's several storylines going on all over the plot, right? There's several different things that you're jumping from one to another. Whereas with this, of course, there really only are two people on one mission. So it's bound to feel a little slow.
They occasionally
it
take
looks
time.
good, but it feels a bit slow.
They occasionally, so I have to show that bluff because it's against Natalie. So like absolute mandatory
Not
show.
good.
None of this myth that no one bluffs in PLO. It's just not true.
Dan is talking about the slowest, slow roll
but
ever.
but it's one of the things. It's one of the things I said to Paul is the dialogue between the two of them is I think is even better than the visuals. Some of the dialogue is just absolutely spot on and so very well done by the actors. It's superb to watch. The little takeaway comments or drop sentences here or there.
And that does come from Druckmann, who's the creator of the game at Naughty Dog, because it's the same way in the game itself. It's the chemistry between the two of them. I know it sounds weird talking about chemistry between video game characters, but like the whole thing is fully acted. It does my head in when people refer to Troy Baker, who appears in the final or the penultimate episode, by the way. So the guy who played Joel in the game, when they refer to him as when they refer to him as the voice actor, they don't just do the voice anymore. It's not like it's a cartoon and they just stood it with a microphone in a studio. It's all fully acted with motion capture and all of that. So and so it's the same kind of chemistry and character developments in the game as they've brought into the show. It's really good.
I'm just looking in the chat. I can see is it Simon Allen saying please let me get a seat at this table. Right, well, Simon, I will sort you out next week and get you into this club games group, and then you can have a seat at this table next week. So we're going to be finishing in a couple of minutes anyway. But I will.
You can have Austin seat. He's stormed off in a huff. So
Simon is desperate to get his better half Michelle into the PLO game as well. It's that bad.
Oh right, okay,
it's
excellent. Yeah, this is what I mean. See, the minute I sit down, that's what happens. But no, Simon, we'll I'll ping you the details so you can just register up into the group, ready to go. And then next week, whether we play PLO or No Limit Hold'em, if you want to come on, or we'll get you. We'll get you on the show as well, Simon. It's been a while since you've been been on. It'd be good to have a catch up and get you back on. See what your political views are on the Lineker stuff. That'll keep us entertained for another.
I think it's already spoiled that surprise in the chat.
Yeah.
Right, folks. Last three hands. Come on, let's do it. Last three hands. The Oscars are not going to wait any longer.
If you think having been grinding for the last 90 minutes to build up a $44 profit, if you think I'm spunking it all up the wall in the last three hands, you're very much mistaken.
Here we go. Stu's woken up with a hand because he's fruity. I don't think Stu's done anything for the last 20 minutes or so.
I think he's woken up rather than woken up with a hand.
Yeah, you might be right. I'm not even sure why I'm in this pot, to be honest, Paul. This is a ridiculous situation. I mean, that's a horrible.
Is it because you've got quads?
Yeah. Are you playing the board?
That's a horrible card.
Oh my god!
Oh well, I somehow win it with pocket eights.
What's he got?
How have I won that with pocket eights? That's ridiculous.
because you need a pocket pair to have a full house on them.
Oh, that's why. Well, that's why I just said. I said that I didn't like the third 10. Well, you're assuming I've got eights. You're assuming somebody's got better than eights. But
I'm disappointed there's no value bet, to be honest.
Really? I genuinely thought. I think you might be right. Stu did just actually wake up. It wasn't he had a hand. He literally just woke up. Yeah. Oh, Natalie with the aces. Oh, I'm definitely raising this hand.
I look forward to it.
Still can't get over the fact you're playing with two cards.
Natalie's beating you to it. Oh, here we go.
Oh, here we go.
Pop it up.
You see, I'd love to play this. Well, Stu's ignoring the fact that Natalie can repop it and probably will. That's what's all right. Fine, I'll donate $1. So there you go. Have an extra $1 to steal Natalie when you repop. No, okay, you're just gonna take that option. Fine.
Oh,
do we like that flop?
He's not sure about that.
Stu does.
So But I don't know anymore. Does Stu, is that because he's got a hand, or he's just woken up and decided to click some buttons? I'm not sure.
I can make some really strong second best hands here. So I'm going to fold 9, 10. Oh no, sorry. I thought that you'd folded, and I was going to talk about my hand, but I'll keep my mouth shut for a little bit longer.
Oh, see, I don't really like that another 7 there. It's I don't think I'm even remotely
8596. Oh, sweet Jesus.
have to let Stu.
Wise move. Last hand, guys. Last hand of the night.
Oh,
Let's do it.
look at Stu.
Just hopeful. Just
You had it.
hopeful.
Yeah.
Nothing that good. I had 9, 10 of spade. I didn't want to say because I obviously didn't want to. Anyway, nice hands.
Add to the Stu Ward coffers for the night. Yeah.
That's the name of his cricket team, I think, isn't it?
yeah, it probably is. Right then, last one then.
Okay, well, I've got to play the last one, haven't I?
There we
Even
go.
though my hand is pure garbage. Yeah, low boards are mine. Just putting that out there.
$0.71 seems about the right bet.
You know what?
Oh, really?
Not low enough even for my hand.
Wasn't much of anything, to be honest.
Taking it. He's
but hey,
taking it. We win the last one of the night, Lee.
As I say, that makes me the real winner, doesn't it? Yeah, that makes me.
Is this like the throw your shoe over the building, and that's the real winner of the quiz?
It works, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant stuff.
It works. It works. Well, that leaves us to say a big thank you to Paul for joining tonight, spending your time with us, playing your game with us. More games, please. Leigh, we'll have to quiz, right? We need a quiz back on the show, right? We need we need your penalty quiz. That was awesome.
We need to get. I think what we need to get is maybe we need to do like a. So we'll do a quiz one week. We'll do cash game the other week. We'll maybe do some tour. Yeah, we'll start. We'll start mixing up a little bit as we get into the season. So yeah,
we'll bring Turbo Millionaire back.
Yeah,
maybe not.
That's
maybe not. Maybe we won't
That's
do that. Rightio. Well, guys, we're done and dusted for the week. Have a great week. And next week, we'll be back next weekend. We'll do it all again.
Yeah, and it might be Liverpool might be back on for top 4 next weekend. Let's see. It's a roller coaster journey. Yeah, it's a roller coaster.
We have Real Madrid. We have to go to Madrid on Tuesday or Wednesday. I can't remember which. And to be honestly, yeah, I'm not sure.
I won't be on because I'll have a stack I can't see over at the World Series.
I don't think they're even bothering. I don't think they're even bothering to bring the pitch up. I think they're just going to bring up a couple of strips and we'll just play on that, to be honest, because it's a done deal, isn't it? Yeah.
We might just send the kids more character in the kids. We'll send the kids.
Yeah, well,
that's what we'll do.
Good. Yeah. Good luck at the poker this week, Paul. Hope it goes well for you.
No, guys.
Cheers, everyone.
See you all next week. Ciao, ciao, ciao.